Hello, everyone. Welcome to our 7 o'clock webinar. I hope you had a great day today. So I can see already Katerina has been here. Hi, Katerina from Livorno. She's not from Pisa. It takes 20 or 30 minutes by car. Great. So my name is Anika. I'm a teacher in Myes in our Milan school, and I hope that so whenever you join us, please introduce yourself. Tell us your name, where you're from, and how you're doing today. Okay. Okay, so please introduce yourselves in the comment section here. So let's get started with our lesson today. We are going to talk about world records. Okay. All right, so what are world records? So if you guys are already watching and you know the meaning of world records, please write it on the comment section. Okay. Okay, so one thing to remember about the word record is the pronunciation. It's record, okay? So if it's a verb, it's record. So as a noun, it's world record. So world record is something that is very big that happened and it's not very usual. It's something unusual that happened. For example, if someone runs really fast, he breaks a record or he makes a world record, right? So something very exceptional that happened in the world. So world record is something exceptional that happened. Oh, great. I've received a lot of comments here. Welcome, Elaine. Nice to see you here. Hi, everybody. I'm Elaine from Milan. Today I worked all day. You worked all day. It's awful. I'm sorry to hear that, Elaine. I hope you get some rest later on. So I worked all day is correct. So just a little bit of mistake here. All day and not all time. Hi, Flavia. Nice to have you here. And Nicoletta. Hi, Nika. Thanks for the lesson. I'm Nicoletta from Foggia, a little island in Venice Lagoon. I study in Myes, Padua. Oh, nice. Thank you. Thank you for your comment. I'm happy to have you guys here. So it's always fun to have you guys interacting and writing in the comments. So thank you. So we have here world records. So as you were saying, world records are something exceptional that happened. So if someone does something really exceptional and that hasn't happened before, they also, we say they break a record. Break a record. To do something exceptional. Exceptionally big. For example, the fastest runner, the tallest building, etc. Okay, hi Rosita, nice to see you here. You're from Naples, I see. Great. So let's talk about world records. So I hope you know about some world records that you can share with us. So today we're going to talk about a world record quiz. We're going to talk about different world records and using superlatives of adjectives. So let's get to it. Here, there are some interesting questions that I'd like you to try answering. So don't worry if you're not sure about the answer, but just take a guess. Okay, just take a guess and right? Whatever you think is right. So guess is when you, so in case you guys don't know, to guess is when you say something that you're not sure about, but you think what it could be, okay? To guess. Very common. If you guys are Italian, guess is indovinare. Hi, Gennaro. Thank you for being here from Bari. Great. So let's answer the following questions. Number one, we have who is the richest person in the world? What do you guys think? Number two, where is the world's largest pizza made? Number three, what is the biggest country in the world by land mass? And four, which language is spoken by the most people? I thought it was English, but who knows? Could be different. Hi, Mirko from Firenze. Thank you for joining us. So we are answering the questions you can see on the screen. Okay. So, so if you're not sure, don't worry. You can just take a guess. So Flavia has guessed question number 4. I guess Chinese. Interesting. Well, it could be because the Chinese population is quite big. So there are a lot of Chinese people. And I used to live in Malaysia for a long time, and I remember 20% of the country spoke Chinese. So it is a very widely spoken language. Yes. So widely spoken, in case you guys don't know, is when a language is spoken a lot everywhere. Okay, so Elaine says the richest person in the world is Bezos. Okay, I think you've got this one. So yeah, I think Katerina and Elaine got the right answer. So I hope you guys are not Googling the answers. I hope you are just guessing it. So don't worry if you've got them wrong anyway. So yes, Jeff Bezos. So he is, I believe he's the founder of Amazon, and he is the richest person in the world. Number 2, where was the world's largest pizza made? So Elaine hopes, yeah, you hope that it is an Italian pizza, so I choose Italy. Well, I am with you on this one, Elaine, but I think Italy sounds too easy. If it was Italian, I think it just sounds so too easy to be true. So I don't know if it's correct. So what about the others? So hi, Luca. Thank you for joining us here. Don't worry about being late. You're here, and we haven't. We are still on our first task, so it's fine. So what do you think, Luca, and everybody else? So Mirko says, I suppose in Naples. I know Naples is really famous for pizza. So let's see. Okay, so are you guys ready for the answer for number 2? And the answer is South Africa. Wow. So it was 26,883 pounds. That's enormous. And it was in South Africa. So that's a surprise. Okay. So about numbers, be careful about numbers. So when you have 3 zeros after a number, it's 1,000. So 26,883 pounds. So Gennaro says, I guess, richest. Okay, the richest is the Amazon owner. Yeah, largest pizza made. I really don't know. China, Spanish, Chinese, and Spanish, maybe. Okay, so you're answering the questions number 4, I guess. Okay, so I think you have got some of the answers, Ginevra. And Nicoletto says maybe the answer about the third question is Russia, but I'm not sure. Whereas the largest pizza was made in Italy. So the pizza was not made in Italy. We are all surprised by that, I guess. It was made in South Africa. So number 2, biggest country in the world by land mass. So Luca says Russia. Okay, so we have different answers. Katerina also says Russia. Okay, Nicoletta is so surprised. She's saying, is it a joke? Well, apparently not. It was in South Africa. We're all surprised. So let's see, the next answer to this question is Russia. Okay, so you guys are right. Okay. Okay, so let's look at the last answer. So some of you said Chinese, Spanish, and what it really is, Mandarin. So which is a branch of Chinese, I believe. So Mandarin and not English. So I'm surprised because I'm surprised it's not English. 1.2 billion people. Okay, so something to keep in mind. All right. Okay, so how many people shared the pizza? So your question, that's an interesting question. I wonder, I think it would take a lot of people. I have no idea, to be honest, but something to research about, I guess. So one little thing about the question, Gennaro, is you don't use did in this case. How many people shared the pizza? Because we're talking about a specific pizza, so we need the article here. So the pizza. So I know that when you ask a question, you normally use did, but this is an exception. This is an exception because we don't know the subject. Okay, so when you don't know the subject or you have the question word as a subject, you don't use did. Okay, so this is one of the rules that it will be very helpful for you to remember. But instead, where you say, where do you live? We use do in that case because the subject is you. We know the subject. So let me write down the rules for you guys. So unknown subject. Auxiliary verb is not used. Okay. All right, so great. Great comments coming in here. So Nicola says, I am agree with Flavia. So okay, so Flavia says it could be the world's largest pizza, but not the best one. Right. Well, Italy is the best producer of for pizza, so I agree. So this is not about the quality, but about the size. So yeah. All right. So just one little thing, Nicoletta. So I agree with Flavia, right? I agree and not I am agree. So it could be Chinese. Yes, a lot of you guys have got the fourth question right. Okay, so you guys are really good at quiz then. Next, let's move on to our next task here. We're going to talk about the superlatives. So match the superlatives with the nouns, the worlds, etc. So we have the superlatives on the left and you have the nouns on the right. Now, as you may already know, superlatives are formed with an est at the end of the adjective, unless the adjective is very long. So for example, rich, richest, big, biggest. So they have one syllable adjectives. And okay. All right. So Nicoletta, so you wanted me to repeat this, what I explained. Yes, of course I can repeat one more time. So when we form a question, we normally use the auxiliary verb, right? For example, where do you live? So if you notice in this question, the subject is you, right? So you is known. Subject is you, so it is known. So we use the auxiliary in this case. But when you don't know the subject, or if the subject is the question word, you don't use the auxiliary. For example, who went there? Who went to the party? Okay, so let's look at the next question, the second question, who went to the party? In this case, we don't know who went to the party, so the subject is not known, or the subject is who, unknown. So we don't use the auxiliary here. Okay, is it clear, Nicoletta? So if you still have questions, you can ask them more. So in the previous example, we saw how many people shared the pizza, right? So in this case, your subject is how many people, okay? So we don't know exactly much about the specific people, right? So in this case, we don't use the auxiliary. Okay, so if you have questions or if you think of other examples that you're not sure about, you can let me know. Okay, so Gennaro says it turned cold soon, right? So it got cold. Yes, I think you cannot heat up really big pizzas like that. All right, great. So let's look at these superlative adjectives here. So it's adjectives for one syllables and with est. Okay, adjectives with one syllable and with est. Okay, so for example, big, biggest, tall, tallest. Okay, so we have some answers here already. Katerina says 1B, richest person. Absolutely. So richest person, there's a lot of them. So I think I'll just give you guys the answers because it's a lot to reply. So richest person. So the biggest would be country, right? So we talked about the biggest country, which is Russia, right? So all right, so Katerina says 2A, biggest city. Well, actually, it can be correct. Biggest city, you can say that. Flavia, which is the most dangerous country in the world? Ooh, that's a good question. Which is the most dangerous country in the world? I think it's just a typo. Oh, well, I'm not sure which it is. So if anyone can answer the question of Flavia, let us know. So Katerina keeps responding. She says 3 would be C, most widely spoken language. Very good. So Mirko has also got it. Very good. Most widely spoken language. Most dangerous. Oh, all right. So I think Flavia was asking a question based on this one. Most dangerous city. Okay, so most dangerous city in the world. I wonder which is the most dangerous city. Okay, so we can stay away from there. So largest. Have you guys got anything for largest? Number 5. We haven't gotten a response yet. So largest can be, it can be many different things, but in this case, largest fits best with tree. So largest tree, just like in the photo. So I don't know if you can see the photo properly here on the left. So there's a huge tree over here, and this is a man at the bottom wearing a white outfit. So that's really big. So does anyone know where is the largest tree in the world? Okay, so I personally think it could be somewhere in the Amazon, but Who knows? Okay, so let's look at some other answers. 6. Okay, so nobody's sure about 6 yet, I can see. So I'll just give you guys the answer. So longest, all right? So longest is used for something that is, okay, so the longest book, right? So I know that when you hear longest, you usually imagine something rectangular and going on, but books can be long as well. So if a book literally is very thick, it's very long. It takes a long time to finish. Then we have highest. So a lot of you guys have said highest building. So Katerina says building. Also, we have okay. Many of you are saying, okay. I think you guys are right. So highest building. Right. And most expensive, of course, car. Okay. So now my question to you guys is, do you know any world record about this? Do you know what's the world record for the longest book, the richest, okay, we talk richest person. Do you know what's the most dangerous city or most expensive car? So if you guys know any of these world records, feel free to share. Okay, so all right, so Gennaro says, I guess somewhere in Asia. I think you're talking about the dangerous city. Possible, it's possible. Okay, so highest building, Rosita, well done. Okay, good job, guys. Okay, so we're gonna move on. Here, so we cannot do this one. Instead, we are going to try to guess the superlative of some adjectives here. Okay, so here there are some sentences and you have to choose an appropriate adjective in the superlative form. The shoes they had were $2,000. So I'm going to try and do the first one, and you can do 2 until 9. Okay, so the first is the cheapest shoe they had were $2,000, which is very strange because $200 is very expensive. But the sentence here is the cheapest shoes they had. So I'm thinking of a specific shop where they had the cheapest shoe to be $200. Okay, so Flavia has an example here. Well done. The most expensive car could be a Ferrari or a Tesla. Yeah, I agree with you. Great. Tesla is really popular these days because it's electronic now. So I believe it's most expensive. Yeah, so I don't know if you've heard that, but I heard that they were planning to land Tesla on the moon, like a car on the moon kind of new product. So that could be extremely expensive. So Miracle here says maybe a Ferrari can be the most expensive car. Yeah, I agree. So let's try this exercise. Guess the superlative. So it takes a while for me to receive your comments because there's a little time delay. So I'll give you guys some time. Yeah, so there are more than one possible answer. So you can say for number 2, this is the blank car I've ever driven. So Flavio says fastest or most incredible. Great. Lucas says the fastest or the slowest. Yeah, low means the opposite of high. So I think it's just a typo. Slowest. Okay. Gennaro says he's got the strongest temper. He's got the strongest, or has a high temper. Okay, or a bad temper. I think the best superlative would be worst temper. Okay, because I think you're answering to number 3. Right, so let's reveal some of the answers already. So this is the slowest car I've ever driven. So some of you have already guessed it. So temper, the adjective is usually bad. So okay, quickest temper, it's also possible. Strong temper, you don't really say that, yeah, Gennaro. So with temper, you say either bad temper or quick temper. So what is a temper? So when you have a quick temper or a bad temper, you get angry very easily. Okay, a person with a quick temper gets angry easily or quickly. Okay, so let's read some of the other comments. Bugatti and Lamborghini are more expensive than Ferrari. Okay, Nicoletta has a point here. Well, I personally don't know much about cars, but yeah. So in that case, there are more expensive cars than Ferrari. So Miracle, very good. Quickest, fastest, slowest, great. All right, so we've got a lot of answers for the first few examples. So yes, Nicoletta, so as I was saying, a temper is when you have a temper, temper just by itself is not really used. So you usually say to have a temper. Oh, Gennaro says heart, and not really. So you can have a temper. To have a temper is to have an angry character. Okay, to have an angry um, or a character, to have a character um, where that makes you angry easily. Okay, to get angry easily. That would be the synonym. Yes, to have a temper is to get angry easily. Okay. Now, so you don't use strong or hard temper. You say bad temper, or you can say a quick temper. So the superlative would be worst temper or worst temper, quickest temper. Okay. So I hope that was clear. If not, you can ask again, no problem. So number 4, that's the blank I've ever seen her. So, oh, Luca says very good that that's the angriest is possible. Actually, there are many possible answers. Angriest is all right. The angriest, that's the happiest, that's anything really. So what they say here, that's the angriest. Okay, Luca has really got it. Okay, so let's look at number 5. She's the blank most positive person I know. Okay, this could be a little bit difficult. So there's a different adjective there, like she's the blank most positive person. Flavia says she's the best. There are so many different answers you can put here. She's the best, possible. She's the happiest, also possible. I think I like the happiest example. Well done. So usually positive people are the happiest. So she's the happiest, most positive person I know. Number 6, that must be the blank hamburger ever. So again, there could be so many different adjectives you can use. It's for a food. Okay. So Lucas says biggest, fattest. Well, for food, biggest, it's correct. You can say biggest. Fat is always used for people only. Okay, fat is used only for people. So you could say if it has like it's very oily and greasy, you can say greasy. For food, greasy is correct. Used for food. Okay. Uh, okay, so Gennaro says super. Well, Gennaro, we're actually looking for the superlative of adjectives. So you don't actually have a superlative of super because it already is a superlative. So Nicoletta is answering the next one. So let's reveal the answer for burger. That must be the fattest hamburger ever. Well, in some cases you can say fattest, but okay, but mostly you use, I think in different countries they use different words. So I guess in some countries you do say fat for food, but from my experience, speaking from my experience, fat is used for people mostly. Right. So Alan says better, biggest. Nicoletta says she's the cutest. So I think you guys are answering the later questions. So we are going to reveal the next answer. That's the thinnest cell phone on the market. So in case you guys don't know, thin is when something is not like this, but very thin, okay? All right, so Gennaro says fattest, great. Mirko says the best. Yeah, you could say best can be used with so many different nouns here. Lucas says newest, oldest. Yes, for number 7, you can say newest, oldest. Latest, I like that one. Latest is a very nice adjective to talk about something that has just come out. Okay, so a latest film, latest book, etc. Number 8, this is the, okay, so number 8, we're talking about the weather, hottest, worst weather. Yes, this can all be correct. So worst weather, that's what they say here. Number 9, my blank friend is coming to town. I'm so excited. So I think there can be only one adjective here. My best friend is coming to town. I'm so excited. Okay. So at this point, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Okay, so Rosita, very good. Best. Elaine as well. So very nice, very good participation, guys. Your comments make the webinars more interesting, obviously. So let's move on to our next task. So here we have some superlatives which are irregular. Irregular superlatives don't follow the rules. You don't end them with est or you don't use most. They're completely different from the adjective. So let's observe some of them. This is the blank match ever. So what's the superlative of good? We're going to win. So if you know the superlative, please write the adjective and the superlative beside it. You don't have to write the whole sentence, okay? So what's the superlative of good? The next sentence, are you kidding? It's probably the blank thing from reality I've ever heard. Very good, Lucas. So superlative of good is best, okay? So this is the best match ever. We're going to win. So Alan says better. Actually, better is the comparative, right? And best is the superlative. Okay, so just like Nicoletta here says, good, better than, the best. Right, very good, Nicoletta. So when you use the comparative when you compare two things only, right? So if you say the match of today is better than the match of yesterday, okay? So you're comparing two things. But the best match ever means you're comparing all the matches in history, okay? So we have some response for the next one. So Flavia says far further. So further is the comparative, but do we use comparative or superlative here? Are you kidding? That's probably the... okay, so you use the superlative. So you're almost correct, Flavia. So what's the superlative of far? Far, further, and... Good. Luca got it. So the furthest. Great job. So you have far. So you can sometimes see two different spellings. Some people say F-U-R-T-H-E-R, and some people write F-A-R-T-H-E-R. It's the same thing. It's the different countries just write different things. Further is the comparative, and I'm going to write the superlative. Furthest. So remember, guys, with superlative, you always use the article the. Okay, great job, Mirko. So we have got this. Furthest thing from reality I've ever heard. So ever heard, you're talking about everything that you have ever heard. So you're superlative, you're not just comparing two things. The next sentence, it's the blank pair up I've seen in ages. So I think we have talked about this one before. The superlative of bad is very good. Mirko, you've got it. The worst. Alan, also, well done. Worst. Okay, it's the worst pair up I've seen in ages. So now in the text itself, if you have any questions, any words you didn't understand, you can feel free to ask. Okay, it's the worst pair up I've seen in ages. Next. Oh, great, Nicoletta. So you're writing the comparative and the superlative. So you're mad because your team is the likely to win. Okay, so this could be a little difficult. So little is the opposite of more. Okay, so we have a question here. So while you're answering the next superlative of little, so a question from Flavia. What does pair up mean? So pair up mean a match. So they're talking about a football match here. Oh, I don't mean match as a football match, but when you pair up two things, you are matching two things. So for example, if there's a tennis match and there's a pair up between two really bad players, then it's a really bad pair up. Does that make sense? So pair up, I would define it as a noun of match, not match as in a football match, right? So it's a different kind of match. So I hope I'm not confusing you. A match between two things, if that makes it any clearer. A match between two teams or between four things. All right. So we have some responses here. I don't know what means. Are you kidding? Okay, that's another question. Very good. Thank you for asking that, Nicoletta. Are you kidding means are you joking? But this is very, very informal. Are you kidding? So this is a surprise expression of surprise. So you would say that when you're among your friends, like you're really surprised and you don't believe your friends. Are you kidding me? Or are you joking? So it's just used not as a question for a response, but as an expression. Okay, so Gennaro, could you be a little more clear? Like comparing two things, are you talking about pair up? Or are you asking a question? Okay. So let's look at little. So little, the superlative, so I'm just going to give it to you guys, is least. Okay. So little, the comparative would be less and least. Okay. So for example, you can say, I'm a little tired. Okay. But she is less tired than me. We're comparing two things. They're using the comparative. And the superlative is least. So you can say, John is the least tired of us all. So very commonly, you also say, you talk about things you may not like. So you can say, oh, this is my least favorite book. All right. All right. So Gennaro says match. So match is not really comparing things, but okay. So sometimes we have some exercises, right? We have some things on the right, some things on the left, and you have to match them, right? So that's what I meant by matching, is to pair up. So pair. So maybe it will be clear if I explain the word pair. Pair means into. Un paio, right? When something comes in pairs, like a pair of scissors, a pair of trousers, a pair of shoes. So it always comes in two. So when you match something, you put it in pairs. Okay, so the last one, Luca has responded, and he's saying the last one is the most. And I think you're absolutely right. So you're mad because your team is least likely. Okay, so let's read the whole thing. This is the best game, the best match ever. We're going to win. Are you kidding? That's probably the furthest thing from reality I've ever heard. It's the worst pair up I've seen in ages. So that means that the teams that we're playing are not a very good match. So maybe it wasn't a very exciting game. It wasn't a very exciting game to watch. You're mad because your team is the least likely to win. So you're mad. So in case you guys don't know, mad can have different meanings. One of the meanings of mad is crazy. But in this case, it does not mean crazy. You guys know what it means, you can share it with us. So the one meaning of mad is crazy. In this context, mad means, I'll just give it to you guys. Mad means here angry. A-N. I'm going to write this for you. Angry. Right. So for example, if someone seems angry, you can say, are you mad at me? Yeah. So in this case, one of these friends, you can see three people in the picture. One of the friends is saying, oh, it's not a good match. It's not a good pair up. I hate this game. And the other person is saying, oh, you're just angry because your favorite team is losing. You're not winning. That's why you're mad. You're angry. Okay. So good question, Luca. What does likely mean? Okay. So likely means something that is very possible to happen. Not sure. Okay, likely to win. So likely to happen is when, let me write this down. Very possible to happen. For example, it's likely to rain tomorrow. I'm going to write this example for you guys. This is a very, very common word. It's good to remember it. It's likely to rain tomorrow. Okay, another thing to remember is that it's not just likely, but likely to. It's always likely to. So here it says likely to win. Least likely to win means it's not likely to win, basically. And in the last sentence, it says we've still got the most valuable player on our team, so we are taking home at least one trophy. Okay, so if there's any other more predictable, well, predictable wouldn't be the synonym of likely. Predictable is something that you know, that you can foresee. So predictable is more like foreseeable. That you can make a conclusion about. Okay, likely is more like more certain. Yeah, Gennaro, so I would say more certain to happen. Yes, likely is a possibility. It's a high possibility. So when something is likely to happen, it is highly possible that's going to happen. So can you think of an example what is likely to happen? So for example, I can say this summer is likely to be very hot. Okay, so usually the summer is very hot in Milan anyway. So, and because of the global warming, the temperature is rising. So I believe that the summer is likely to be very high certainty, likely to be very hot. Can you think of any other predictions? So when you talk about predictions, Gennaro is partly right. So likely to is used to talk about a prediction. If you know any predictions, please write them out. So we are almost at the end. So we have just a few minutes left. So if you have any more questions about this, feel free to ask any last minute questions. Asking questions are great. It helps others as well. So keep them coming. We just have a few minutes left, unfortunately, though. So it's likely to stay home. All right. So Nicoletta, a good example. But in this case, the subject is I or we. We are likely. Okay, so the subject also changes. So we are likely to stay at home. Okay, so it's not always I was talking about the rain. So the rain is an inanimate object. It's not even an object. So something, it's a thing. So we say it's likely. But when you're talking about people, you must use the subject that's relevant. Katrina says, if it's a sunny day of summer, I likely go, I am likely to go to the beach. Okay, so another thing. So see, when you guys comment, a lot of things come up and we learn new things. So Katerina will be, I am likely to. So basically, likely to is used with verb to be. To be likely to. Okay, so as we said before, it is likely to rain. It's likely to rain. We are likely to stay at home. So we're always using verb to be. And in this case, team is the least likely to win. So I hope that's clear. So in the last couple of minutes, I'm just going to review what we have talked about today. So first of all, we have discussed the expression world record, not record. Be careful. The verb record is very different. It means when you're recording an audio, recording a song, that's a verb. But in this case, record, world record, which are exceptional things that happens around the world. We have talked about a quiz. We have done a quiz about different world records. Then we have talked about the superlatives and matched them with some nouns or paired them up with some nouns. And then we have talked about some superlative adjectives for different scenarios here. And finally, we have talked about irregular superlatives. And there were some vocabulary we mentioned here that could be very common, very useful. All right, so we have to leave it at that. And thank you for your participation, for your comment. And I hope this has been useful. So, all right, bye, guys. We have to leave it at that. Have a great evening. Bye.